when I did that last year, right? Actually, just before she passed. And I we actually went to the hospital, got cancer patients out of their schools, brought down to the wellness center and exercise center. And now we're thanks for coming. It's wonderful. She was a big supporter of mine. When I first met her, she really supported me and certain reservations about support. She was really, you can do it, you're not swayed to what the program was like and what I needed to do well.
You still
Spend more time looking forward instead of watching the mirror. Well, I'm just glad to see this all happen. I guess this will work.
And there's something
I've been checking my messages today.
I know Carol.
like everybody else.
Yeah, let's go.
Here's my deal. I'm going. Oh, really? Script on myself as well.
If I don't cut it on
And the dedication. Come on out, Ray. We're going to wait for you. The group to come on up.
Too many women look for anybody.
Look, I'm going to get in a serious amount of trouble. I'm just going to hang out by this deli for a minute. And I'll get right here. Just stand for a moment. That'd be great. It's great. You see over here we've got our fresh fruit juice area. And we have real high quality fruit juices. People can help themselves to that. As a matter of fact, even the employees get to drink on that. So I drink about a quarter a day here myself. And of course we've got the pasture fortified food drinks, which are real low in sugar, which help power the muscles so they can train harder. We're very concerned about blood sugar levels, blood sugar levels high. We've got a refrigerator here for someone wants to keep food in there. And we really encourage you to take this stuff, drink a lot of food. Over here What can I do? What can I do? So sometimes we do special classes on reducing abdominal sag. You know, the old organs kind of hang against that, sag against that backbone. We get a little pouch there. So we do special classes for that. We also do special back exercise classes, and every member we want to do regular stretching every day. Stretching is something that in and of itself is an independent conditioning program. So this is kind of like a stretching area when people are coming in. We're going to be doing a few new things in here to promote stretching even more. And then of course, as we start over here, you see this first piece of equipment with that pull down device, and it goes all the way along and around. This is what we call a circuit. This particular equipment is called Cybex equipment, and this is the same weightlifting equipment or progressive resistance equipment that the NFL uses. So for example, the Dallas Cowboys have literally this equipment. They average anywhere from approximately $5,000 for one piece of this equipment. That's how expensive it is. But of course, if you can imagine the amount of use that we get on each piece of equipment daily, it has to be able to take that stretch. Along the wall over here, we've got what's called the PT4400 stair climber, and it has all these neat little individual computerized programs. And after we're done today, please feel free to kind of go up and take a look at some of those programs. They're all different. I mean, they all different type of workouts you can do in terms of the amount of effort, the amount of time you spend, and the type of work it will give you. Along the wall over here, we have the PT4000 Stairmaster. It won the top of the line until the PT4400 came out. Who knows? In the next 5 years, we'll have the PT5000, and we'll probably be floating on air. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen in terms of science and technology in the years to come. But why don't we kind of all just scoot over here out on the track, and we'll keep walking around the track $1 a piece. And this duplicates identically walking stairs. And what they are is motorized stairs. They're called the Stairmaster Step Mill. And this is the man and woman maker right here. This is the toughest exercise machine in the Wellness Center. And I mean, only the most hardy and ambitious will get up on those step mills. The program cards here are the same as the PT4400, except we make you take a full step height, and so the effort, of course, is that much harder. And when you first start on here, we got a lot of people almost falling off these things because the stairs are revolving, motorized stairs. We'll have people, whoa, trying to hang on. Over here, you see what's left of our library. We're moving our library out of here, which was available to all of our members to check out books relating to health. But as you can see, we're busting at the seams, and we're running out of room. And so we've been forced to move this library to open up this area for putting fitness equipment along the side there. We really weren't getting enough usage of the library that we could justify not getting rid of it to create more room and space for us. What we're going to do right now is at this time it's my great pleasure to introduce Eric Noto to you. Eric's a friend, he's a colleague. He heads up our cancer rehab program, and he really spends a lot of time. It's a good thing he's single because he has no time of his own, although he's a very eligible bachelor, I might add, and good looking too. I'm a championship caliber soccer player, and I'm training him now. I'm getting him back into that shape. Eric is going to present the plaque, and he's going to hand the plaque officially for you, and I'm going to give the program over to Eric.
All right. So this year's, all of us here, Team Mother Francis, for all the work that your wife did, all the positive influence she put into this cancer rehab program, developing it, and we just want to remember her.
Does anybody have any questions for Ken Olivier or Eric about the program that they can answer? Of course, Ken is our rehabilitation coordinator, and I might add NCAA champion and All-American in technical.
I want to start and welcome you all. Thanks for being here for this great occasion. I want to start by asking Monsignor John Brennan to come forward and give us a blessing. And you are a blessing to us, sir.
God bless you. Thank you, Doctor. I promised him I was not going to read the whole book today. So relax and take it easy. Just before we started, I suggested to him that he said a prayer. And he looked at me. He said, "Yes, I'll do that if you will take the introductions." So he always has the nicest answer to any of my problems. God bless him. Let us pray. We're gathered here today, Heavenly Father, in this part of your creation. You sent your Son into this world to save sinners. He went about preaching his doctrine and healing the sick. We have other people years afterwards healing the sick. We have our doctors, we have our nurses, we have our technicians. We may look at this building from the outside, and what do we see? We see bricks and glass, aluminum and steel. But we should see beyond these things. We should look for the compassion. We should look for the love of our fellow man. We should look for patience, consideration. That's the thing that makes a building. Not the stone, not the glass, not the steel. It's the people that make the building. We ask a special prayer on the doctors that work in this building. We ask a special blessing on their staffs. And above all, we ask you to keep their patience in the palm of your hand and grant them your healing. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
What a wonderful word. Thank you, Brother John. When we think of rehabilitation for so long, it was for a different purpose. We thought of rehabilitation as a consequence of strokes, of injuries, of orthopedic injuries, of other types of rehabilitation processes after strokes and injuries. The next level was after pulmonary problems. We learned that by making people and having them in better condition, their pulmonary problems were much more, they were able to deal with those better. The cardiac rehabilitation programs were at the next level. And for so long we didn't think about the rehabilitation of the cancer patient. We thought just the effective treatments of surgery and chemotherapy and such were the processes by which we treated the cancer problems. There's so many emotional problems. The hospice has been so effective in helping us also through those times. But Jeannie Spencer helped us to get to another level of thought process about cancer rehabilitation. And I think that's why this is such an important time today to bring her memory to us. I want to call on Ken Olivier to tell us, give us some introduction to cancer rehabilitation. Ken?
Again, my name is Ken. I'm the rehab coordinator in the Wellness Center. Our outpatient exercise therapy is becoming an accepted aspect of rehabilitation in patients with cancer. Regular exercise counteracts the detrimental effects of bed rest and inactivity and provides psychological benefits. Exercise has also been hypothesized to enhance immune system function. Few studies are available to determine if the loss of function that cancer patients are faced with is due to the cancer, due to the cancer treatment, or due to the physical inactivity that's caused by the cancer. It's been estimated that 1/3 or more of the decline in functional ability is due to the physical inactivity itself. McVicker et al. Conducted a 10-week training study with 45 women receiving chemotherapy for stage 2 breast cancer. The women were compared to matched cancer-free women who performed the same exercises. Their study found that women with cancer improved just as much as the control group. They concluded that moderate aerobic exercise, properly supervised, can help cancer patients maintain or gain functional capacity. They also reported that nausea of treatment frequently goes away soon after exercise begins, and there are fewer emotional and physical problems reported in cancer patients who exercise. Our cancer rehab program was approved by the Medical Advisory Board at Mother Frances Hospital in the fall of 1995. Eric Nodo is the team leader of cancer rehabilitation. He's doing a great job. We conducted a pilot program in 1995, and the program is now underway. Patients can be either physician-referred or self-referred into the program. Our program consists of exercise therapy, education, nutritional counseling, smoke stoppers, smoking cessation, and a support group. Before starting in the program, we have an orientation session where we evaluate the patient's current situation. At this time, we decide whether the program is right for them. If the patient decides to enter the program at that point, we set up an initial assessment of function that includes a cardiopulmonary exercise test where we measure 12-lead EKG, electrocardiogram, oxygen consumption, carbon dioxide production, and ventilation all over time. We also detect anaerobic threshold, oxygen pulse, respiratory rate, respiratory exchange ratio, and heart rate reserve. That's the endurance part of the test, and it gives us very good information on the patient's functional status, and eventually we'll be able to prove that our program works, and we'll be able to make decisions about our program based on data, which will support the concept of outpatient cancer rehabilitation. We also do a strength test, which is very important. We assess both upper body strength and lower body strength, and we look for muscle imbalances. One of the things with cancer patients is by doing the cardiopulmonary test and doing a strength assessment, we can find out where their deficits are and give them good information. And then we also do a flexibility test to assess range of motion. The assessment allows us to identify physical and functional deficits and helps us to design a safe and effective individualized exercise treatment plan based on the patient's current functional status. Maximizing benefits while minimizing risks of complications from the disease and its treatments are the goal of the program. Additional support during exercise includes cardiac monitoring. We have a lead 2 monitor we can put on real quick and assess rhythm in less than a minute. We do oxygen saturation checks, check the oxygen saturation level, and provide supplemental oxygen. And we do blood glucose level monitoring. So we monitor blood glucose levels during activity. So there's several tools that we have to assess patients during rehab, which are very helpful, have been very helpful. And we also have the oxygen consumption testing and spirometry, which we actually, what's neat is that we're doing this in our department. We're actually doing the testing, and then we're bringing the data downstairs and working with the patients, and that's pretty unique. We're really excited about it. This time I'd like to introduce, are there any questions? I'll be glad to answer any questions about the program, what we're doing. I'd like to introduce Dr. Gary Kimmel. Dr. Kimmel is a medical oncologist and hematologist with 20 years of service to the community. He has a strong personal interest in the role of exercise and fitness to one's well-being.
What a nice job of communicating what a rehabilitative program can mean to a cancer patient. I'm not sure that I have a lot to add, but I have a few comments I'd like to make. I think in general, we are seeing a much greater interest in quality of life issues in the delivery of cancer care in our patient population. I think this was exemplified earlier this week when I had a patient come in, and I had seen him for the first time, and he had a diagnosis of cancer, of course, and we were visiting, and I got to nutrition and exercise, and I said, well, how's your diet? He said, I'm on a seafood diet. And I said, well, you know, what's a seafood? I said, I eat everything I see. So we were off to a pretty good start with him. He still had a good appetite. Unfortunately, so many times, by the time the patient gets to us, they are already pretty debilitated. More often than not, they're elderly. They've not been eating for several weeks and sometimes several months. They may have lost 10, 15, 20 pounds. So you're starting off with a very deconditioned individual, and you sit down with them and you tell them their diagnosis, which is devastating emotionally, and then you may go over their treatment program with them. And that's oftentimes somewhat disappointing also, because you need to tell them about all the potential hazards and side effects, as well as the potential benefits. And when they leave the office, hopefully you have had some opportunity to impart to them the ultimate benefits of this therapy. But again, they're faced with the demoralization of a cancer diagnosis, the debilitated state that they've accumulated over several months of illness. So you really have your hands full in terms of trying to manage their illness. When I first started in oncology about 25 years ago as a medical student, and was so impressed with the suffering that we had in cancer, back then we were just struggling to get a few drugs to improve survival. Dr. Thomas knows it took quite a while before we learned about combining drugs and developing new drugs. And now what we're experiencing is a much greater opportunity to help our cancer patient. More often than not, they're going to live longer. Maybe not survive the cancer, but they may live 6 months, 10 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years with their cancer. And we are now demanding that this quality of life be enhanced. We're not satisfied with just surviving and existing. You need to have a documented improvement in quality. If you look at studies now that we're actually doing with new drugs and cancer treatment, we are trying to define tools that let us know, did we not only improve survival, but did we improve their quality of life? And to me, the saddest thing in oncology is to have survival improved by whatever length of time, but that the duration of that survival is of extremely poor quality. I don't feel like I've had a success at all. And I think that the rehabilitative piece of patient care has become so important because we now have continuing improvements in survival. Up until now, I've had to encourage my patient to eat the best he possibly can and get nutritional support. And I've had to encourage him to exercise. Well, doctor, what do you mean exercise? And as Ken has pointed out in his program, he can tell this patient what his exercise capacity is to begin with. I can't. I haven't been out on the sidewalk walking with him. I simply say go home and start with whatever you're capable of doing, and let's build from that point. It may be a quarter of a mile, it may be a half a mile, I don't know. But here we can gauge his exercise capacities and document for him his progress. And this is so meaningful for a patient to be able to see something measurable in terms of his success, not only with cancer treatment, but with what he physically is now capable of doing. So I know that from the Tyler Cancer perspective, that my colleagues tremendously welcome this new opportunity for our patients. Never minimize the importance of the rehabilitative effort in the cancer patient. It is becoming more and more and more important as we improve our therapies and strive to reach more and more cures for more and more cancers. And in that interim, this particular piece of patient care is desperately needed so that these individuals can experience a significant improvement in the quality of their lives. And this truly is a very important tool that we have needed, and we are very, very enthused about what we're going to be able to offer our patient in terms of a measurement of where we're starting from and where they're able to go with their cancer diagnosis, and look back and see continued improvement in their capabilities. And I think Pat alluded to the fact that there's not only a physical component, but it's the spiritual aspect of knowing that there is someone working with you, helping you to improve in all aspects of your patient cancer care. We're real grateful and excited about this for our cancer patient community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kimmel. That was wonderful. From a patient's perspective, we've asked Freda Harder to come and speak to us about from her perspective. Thank you, Freda.
Dr. Kimmel's office designed my hair. I hope everybody likes it. I'm 7 months out of my cancer diagnosis, and I'm pleased to be here. I'm so excited to be a part of this, to be able to watch this department grow and be able to see some things happen. I'll never be able to say thank you to all the people who were able to help me to be able to come back after my diagnosis and my surgery. Dr. Kimmel is amazing when you go through the diagnosis and you've talked with your doctors and you're seeing doctor after doctor after doctor, and all you're hearing is bad news. It's amazing to be able to go to the Wellness Center and be able to talk with those people, and they can show you something that you're able to do every day that makes a difference. It's amazing how much better you feel. Dr. Kimmel is exactly right. Sounds like he's been there. When you go through that diagnosis and you are so depressed and you are so demoralized and it's just amazing. I was perfectly healthy. I felt great. And all of a sudden I had cancer. But to be able to go to the Wellness Center and be able to have all of these things done for me, to be able to go through all of the testing there, and to be able to follow the regimented program. They put the monitor on you. You know you're not messing up. You're scared to death. You know, anything you do, you may break something else that you didn't know was fixing to fall off. So you want to be real careful. So instead of, it's real nice not to have to call Dr. Kimmel every day and say, can I do this, can I do this? And know that the Wellness Center they're monitoring you, they're watching you, they're telling you exactly what's okay. You have that monitor hanging around your neck, and whether anybody's looking at that screen or not, it's there. You know somebody's going to know if something else happens. So it makes you feel a whole lot better to be able to go through the program and see all of the benefits. It's helped me so much that there are other people in the Wellness Center who are going through the same kinds of thing that I am. And to be able to watch their progress, you get a little sisterhood here. You can follow with everyone else and watch the progress that's being made. The staff up there is unbelievable. It's a family. They make you feel like you're really part of it. They support you when you're down. They really boost you and help you and encourage you. They don't push you in any way. They help you to be able to understand exactly where you are and where you're going. They can show you on paper exactly what you need to be doing. And so it makes you feel real good. It makes you feel real encouraged. Like I said, I'm only 7 months out of my recovery. I feel like I've made tremendous progress because of the Wellness Center. When I was going through my chemotherapy, and those, I guess you understand those days following chemotherapy, about a week there, you're pretty down. But you can force yourself to get back to that exercise, and immediately when you go back, it makes tremendous difference. You eat better, you feel more like eating, you get rid of some of that indigestion, some of that heartburn that you're feeling because of the chemotherapy. you work it out with the exercise, and it all kind of balances and makes you feel so much better. So I'm so thankful to the Wellness Center for all the things that they've done for me, all the way from the exercise physiology part of it to actually pushing behind me to get the exercise that I needed to do done, all the way to the nutrition. You know, any questions that I had about nutrition, or how to encourage myself a little bit. It's real hard when you're going through the nausea and the heartburn to eat. And when you go to the Wellness Center and they're there, you can always talk with them about, you know, what is this? You know, is the exercise kind of, is it upsetting my stomach a little more? Or, you know, right at the beginning, you're not sure. And they'll work with you through all of that and help you figure out that it's that you're not eating enough and not exercising enough. And so it all works out and makes you feel real good. Anybody have a question for me? Thank you.
Quality of life is just what Ms. Harder has just talked about, and it reminded me while she was talking of a quote that I saw from Art Linkletter years ago, and it says, "It isn't what life gives to you, it isn't what life deals to you, it's how you deal with what life," no, it's not it.
It's close.
But it's close. That it, at any rate, you can see that she deals with life very well with what it's brought to her. And we thank you for that.
Thank you.
I ask Ken Olivier to come up now.
I first met Jeannie when I was in graduate school at University of Texas Tyler in 1991, and she was very, very kind to me. I was just starting in the graduate program, and I had some concerns about certain courses and the coursework and how I was going to do in the program. And she told me, she said, "You're going to do great. She told me, how supportive the professors were and what I needed to do, and how, told me how, I was going to have to work hard, but I was going to do well. And I didn't realize how much that meant to me until after she passed away. And then I started thinking back, and then I realized that really meant a lot. Sometimes the small things, that's a lesson I think we can learn. The small things you say a lot of times mean a lot. In 1992, I was working with Mother Francis in the research department and as a research assistant, and Jeannie and I started talking about cancer rehabilitation. And she was, I actually helped. She started saying she wanted to start a cancer rehab program, and I did a literature review with her, and she went and dug up all the articles on then we got the literature feedback, and she went and got all the articles and began working on a program. And she put together an excellent rehab program specifically for cancer patients. And she started working with the rehab staff at that time in the rehab center, talking to them, letting them know that how important it is for cancer patients to have the same type of services as the cardiac patients, and outlining the research. And all the research I reported to you today is from her work. So with her knowledge of exercise physiology and nursing, and her insight into what cancer patients face, combined with her strong belief that cancer patients could benefit from exercise rehab, helped her to develop a program that cancer patients could truly benefit from. Many of us here knew how strongly Jeannie believed in this program, and we're very, very proud to be able to carry out her work. She's a very, very special person. I'd like to recognize Jeannie's family, many of you who've traveled across the country to come here today. Her husband, Art, her 3 sons, Mark from North Carolina, Danny from Tyler, and Andrew from Denton, Texas, and their families. And also Jeannie's sister and family, Donald, Janet, and Derek Melby. It's great to have you here. You've made it a very, very special event. I'd like to introduce Dr. Pat Thomas now. He's our Chief Medical Officer of Trinity Mother Frances Health System. He's going to present a plaque to Art Spencer in honor of Jeannie in her memory.
Thank you. The quote from Art Linkletter was, I finally put it together, it isn't what problems life deals to you, it's how you deal with the problems that life gives to you. So I think you've personified that exactly. And Jeannie Spencer did also. Art, I'd like for you to come up, and Andrew, Mark, and Danny are here also. This is a plaque which will be put on the wall in the Regional Wellness Center, and it says, for Cardiac Rehabilitation Program dedicated April 3rd, 1996 in memory of Jeannie Halverson Spencer for her love of life, commitment, and important contributions to cancer survivorship. I'm not much of a speaker, but after what I've seen today and last week, I think Jeannie would be proud of this place. She was always trying to help somebody. I think this is something she would like. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Are there any questions of any of our participants? If not, you're dismissed, and feel free to come up and talk to the family if you would. Thank you.
Sensitive newscast.